Welcome to UNCAGED. Today we're speaking with Barbara Steinberg. Barbara, it's great to have you on the show.
Pleasure to be here, Ben. Thank you.
Now, Barbara is the founder and CEO of eFraud Services. They are a technology company that automates financial data extraction for fraud investigations. And so anyone that has been the victim of a fraud, any company that gets involved in these types of things, we know this is a hot topic, an area that everyone's thinking about as technology pushes us to the next stage of how we're going to live our lives. Barbara, it's great to have you on the show. Before we get into eFraud and everything going on with eFraud services, let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
It's been a long career. My career spans more years than most of your listeners have been alive, I will say. I started out many years ago. I actually have an undergraduate degree in medical computer science. I was a college dropout, and it intrigued me, the topic intrigued me, which kind of got me back into it. Later on, I'll go through the education. I part-time, while I was working, I got a master's in electrical engineering. I was actually studying biomedical engineering at night. And later on, I also got an MBA in the management of science and engineering. At that time, we didn't call it technology, and computer science was certainly not considered engineering in those days. Given that, my career started out as a programmer. I was in healthcare. I only wanted to work in healthcare. I worked at Rhode Island Hospital. I worked at Memorial Sloan Kettering. There was a segue into industry via the healthcare route, wound up in manufacturing systems. I've always been in applications in computers. So I actually was responsible for automating the component inventory for Revlon Cosmetics, which was huge. From there, segued into consulting and software applications, manufacturing applications, and eventually found my way to sales. So I spent a lot of time selling software mostly, but hardware, services as well over the years. Fast forward to 1990, I decided there was nothing interesting happening in the computer industry, so I decided to go into financial services. I became a CFP and started, which was my second business at that time, Capital Concepts, educating employees about investing and money management and stocks and bonds and 401ks and things like that, which they had no knowledge of. From there, eventually segued into, actually went back in around 2000, the dot-com era, found myself back in software sales. Found my way into my next business, which was elder care financial solutions. And I was actually helping older people, seniors, who needed long-term care, home care, or nursing home care, assisted living, helping them find the means to pay for it. And I got into that via veterans benefits, which I became an expert in, wrote a book on, a whole another career. From there, we segued into Medicaid. My clients came back and said, hey, you helped us with veterans benefits, we're out of money, can you help us with Medicaid? Okay. In Medicaid, when you apply for it, they have a 5-year look back. They want to see every bank account that you've had open or closed for the last 5 years to make sure you didn't give away your money to your children or whoever in anticipation of having the government pay for your, pay $15,000 a month for your nursing home care. Mm-hmm. So they scrutinized those records. And I had employees, and I was watching them copy from paper bank statements into giant Excel spreadsheets. Being a computer person, I said, there must be a way to automate this. So I found a company in Scotland that had software that could do it. And I'll give you the challenge of bank statements and the technical challenge and why it's been a long journey. There's still about 4,000 banks in the U.S. There's 40,000 banks around the world. At that time, there were probably 10,000 banks. Every one of them has a different format. It's not like invoices. I kind of make the analogy, we tried machine learning, and I'll go through that. When you do machine learning, you give the computer 200 invoices. On 201, it says, I recognize that that's an invoice. Here are the fields I need. Here's your data. I give it 200 bank statements. I give it 201. It says, I never saw that before. I don't have a clue. So that's an issue number one. Every format is different. Number two, when we're dealing with Medicaid, and the same thing happens in fraud, we're not downloading nice clean data from banks or anywhere else. Number one, you can't get it online anymore if you're going back 5 years. And a fraud investigation, the crime probably happened 2 years ago when you're going back 5 years before that. So what's happening, we're getting paper statements that are being scanned in. Some of them have coffee stains, some of them have, balance your checkbook notes and things like that. So now when we get a PDF, it's an image, it's not data. So the challenge is, how do I extract data from that image accurately, quickly? And when it comes to fraud investigations, this data is going to court. So it has to be 100% accurate. The investigator is going to testify it's 100% accurate, and it has to be court ready and court approved. So accuracy is important. So back to my Scottish software. So we used that for the Medicaid business, and it was okay. 2014, sold the business, moved to Florida, and said, what am I going to do? And I pitched these guys in Scotland. I said, I'll be your U.S. reseller. So that was how I got into this business. And I had customers from federal government, my local sheriff, state Medicaid fraud control units, all kinds of businesses. And the whole principle of examining bank statements not only applies to fraud, but divorce cases, bankruptcies, things like that. So it's pretty broad. Anybody that has to take a bunch of bank statements and analyze the data from it. So that began eFraud services, began a journey, a technical journey. The software that I was selling, by the way, was manual. It was semi-manual, I would say, much better than doing it manually. But the reason it worked for any format was that you would draw a box around every table and every page with your mouse. So if it was credits or debits or whatever, and every table had to have the same number of columns, so you'd pad it out. So better than doing it manually, but still quite manual. So at that time, it was a big step forward, and it was good. But about 6 years ago, it got hard to sell, during boxes. And I said, okay, AI. I know nothing about AI, but AI should be able to do what I'm doing manually. Mm-hmm. And that was how we got started down this road. So,
that's great. So I mean, look, I can see. I mean, first of all, I feel like I need to pause and just say, it's rare to meet someone who has worked as an engineer, has so many degrees, has worked in healthcare and financial services. I mean, it's quite an incredible breadth of a career that you've had, Barbara. And certainly, I think that probably helps somehow with what you're doing now. You probably see patterns more that other people might miss. But eFraud is a huge area, and certainly, when it comes to investigations, you're absolutely right. There are moments, certainly, probably elderly fraud, but also things like divorce settlements, things like that. It's a big topic. How do customers and who are the customers of eFraud services?
Again, government, every level of government, every federal government agency has, an office of, the Inspector General, and every level of government is doing it, every niche. We were talking to the Treasury Department, the division that monitors or looks for fraud in the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms division. It's all these agencies all over the place. And not just the federal government, but then you've got the state government, the Attorney General's office. There's all these agencies in there. I mean, a client in a city who is the guardianship office. They have to monitor, the people who are the guardians of the wards to make sure they're not embezzling. So in this particular office in one city, there were 2 people that were doing this full time. Then on the other hand, like I said, a lot of forensic accountants. I've worked with many forensic accountants. I've worked with many high-profile cases, and that's where you see a variety of things, Ponzi schemes and all kinds of stuff. I mean, some of it is, schools. People are, embezzling within the schools. I've seen those. I had a small business. There were 2 partners. It was the food business in your neck of the woods, I think, around Miami. And he said, I think my partner is embezzling from me. He hired a forensic accountant, and he was using a American Express card, American Express card, and he was using it for personal things. So they hired me to, at that time, to analyze the American Express statements, to find the fraud. So you have businesses of every size, every nature. You've got individuals, these divorce cases. They're usually going, through attorneys, white-collar attorneys who are doing all this, the forensic accountants. There's a huge number of forensic accountants that are doing all kinds of stuff. It's huge.
I find it really interesting. There was that movie that came out starring Ben Affleck where he was the accountant. And, the first movie was quite good. I felt like they had a chance to build such an interesting character. I think they lost it with the follow-up film, but the idea of following and investigating the evidence, and understanding how those things evolve is really, really interesting. And the parties that you talk to, forensic lawyers, forensic accountants, state and city and national government officials, I mean, when you're talking to them today, what's top of mind for them? Are they really thinking about AI and how they can apply it here, or what's the topic that comes up?
That's a very interesting question now. And what we do, it's a piece of their investigation. What we're doing is we're saving them a hell of a lot of time, and then getting them accurate information. I mean, normally this stuff would take weeks, to do. We could do it in hours, or minutes and things like that. So they have time to do their investigation instead of cleaning up data and doing things like that, which is what most people are doing out there today. So that's really, our niche and our play in this. So I'm sorry, what was your question?
No, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what is top of mind for those customers, really, kind of like where, I find that in these areas you go through phases, right, on what they really care about, and just be curious,
Yeah. So what I was getting at was what their goal is, who did what, follow the trail of money, follow the money. Okay, you have all these accounts. I've seen cases with 50 different accounts, brokerage accounts, bank accounts, credit card accounts. The money's moving all over the place. The money's moving to lots of different people. My uncle, my cousin, my sister-in-law, everybody's got accounts, and there's a lot of movement. So that's really the challenge. Who's involved, okay? And where's the money coming from and going to? So that's what they're looking for, from the bank statements, the financial documents. Mm-hmm. And they might be examining payroll documents or general ledgers or things like that too. And we also have the capability to take any financial document, PDF, and extract data from it, tables from it, even if it's a scanned PDF and we don't know what's in it. Our application takes it and extracts every table, looks for every table. Remember, every table can have a different format, different layout, and puts each one into an Excel worksheet. So now they've got something that's got rows and columns that they can analyze easily as opposed to that. So that's part of it too. When it comes to the AI is a very interesting question. Yeah. Because accuracy, like we said, it's got to be accurate, it's got to be admissible in court. So one of the questions I got asked recently is, well, if it's AI, isn't the judge going to throw it out? How can we use this in court? That was one question. Wow. And the other question is, this is all PII, personal information, when it goes to the AI engine, where's it going? Who's seeing it? What's happening to this data? So those are the two big concerns that I've seen. So on one hand, you've got, once you have the data extracted, use AI all over the place, to analyze it, and get information from it stuff. But on the other hand, be careful because, it's going to synthesize stuff and do things.
Yeah.
So which brings us back to our application. Our application uses AI, but it's not the typical way you would use AI. And I use AI day in and day out to do things. But in our application, I had to force it, and I'm the prompt engineer, so I had to force it to say, you must extract this data, you must do nothing else but extract this data, because it always tries to embellish it, and enhance it. Don't think about it, it's a bank statement, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's like, no, you must do this, here are the rules, you must do nothing but this, an extraction. So we're kind of an opposite of an AI thing. We also have built-in, in error correction detection, and I will say using AI versus typical OCR, we're like 99.9% accurate in extraction. I mean, that is mind-boggling with the Gen AI. So the concerns are, and then once we get the data out, then we can use AI, to do analysis and things like that, which would obviously speed things up. But the bigger concern is the accuracy and the privacy of the data.
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately I went through a bruising divorce, and we had if I'd known you, Barbara, I could have given you a lot of business, but I had to deal with some of that kind of financial mischief, and it's just fascinating. The devil is in the details. Let's put it that way. But you can kind of find it. And I mean, I'm curious because on a human level, you must be one of these people who's a little bit of a natural investigator. But tell me a little bit about what brings you joy from the work that you do.
Number one, it's always been helping people, helping my customers, making their jobs easier, helping, individuals, and that's how I got into the whole computer gig to begin with. The medical computer science is significant. I felt like, I was doing it and I was going to be helping people, helping somebody as opposed to just doing computer science. So that's always been, my thing, whether it's a customer, whether I'm just helping somebody personally. The other thing is I'm a problem solver. I like to solve problems. So, I can sit here at the computer all day. People think I'm crazy. And just work, and get satisfaction from knowing that I'm solving the problem. Many years ago, I did a jigsaw puzzle, 3,000 piece or whatever, caricature of New York. And I've got it, glued, and I carry it wherever I go now. But it's like challenges, I like challenges, I like to get to the end and to finish it.
That's awesome.
So that's my thing.
Well, I mean, we're talking a lot about how technology can support what you do. When you think about the near future, what does it look like? Are you imagining more systems, or what does it look like for you guys?
There's so much more we can do just within, this area. So, fraud, like I said, itself is huge. But on the other hand, just financial documents, like I said, we have the capability to extract accurately from any financial document for anybody. And so that opens up, a whole new world. The other thing is, we focus on U.S. It's not a U.S. problem. I've had discussions with the head of fraud control for the Bank of Dubai, Singapore people and stuff like that. It's a huge thing, and there will be a lot of other offshoots that come out of just what we have now. I'm in discussions with people who want to use our, application or tool as part of a system where they extract, tons and tons of documents, but as part of that whole chain. So it fits in a lot of places. The other thing is the government contracting. There's huge opportunities. They're using 25-year-old systems, the federal government. So it's enormous. Potential's enormous. And with the financial document extraction, that'll take us into a lot of other places. So.
Well, I mean, Barbara, I can only imagine that the world is going to need more and more of your services. It's amazing to hear what you guys do, and I really enjoyed the conversation. We've been speaking with Barbara Steinberg about eFraud services, and really all the business, all the things that they're doing, but also kind of the areas that they're supporting and resolving solutions for. eFraud is a technology company that automates financial data extraction for fraud investigations. They work with national, state, and local governments. They work with forensic accountants, and it's something that impacts almost every area of our lives. And really having a source and a team that can provide accurate information is absolutely key. Barbara, if someone wanted to learn more about eFraud services, where's the best place to find you?
Our website is eFraudServices.com. You can call me. Our phone number is 239-842-8224. And or I'm on LinkedIn too. I think it's Barbara L. Steinberg, but just look up Barbara Steinberg eFraud Services, you'll find me.
Excellent. Well, Barbara, thank you so much for being on the UNCAGED show, and hope I run into you in South Florida.
Same here, Beth. Thank you very, very much.
All
Appreciate it.
right, cheers.